Cyclone Stadium, Eastern View High School, the site of tonight's Cannonball Classic, a yearly football game between the Cyclones and Blue Devils. And what a way to get the season started for them and for us here on the Culper Media Network. Hello everyone, I'm Mark O'Connell, joined in the broadcast as always by my partner Steve Peacock in this, our 20th season together. Steve, welcome aboard to this season, our 20th season as I said. And what a way to get things going to start the season with the annual Cannonball Classic, a game the Cyclones have never lost, and likewise a game the Blue Devils have never won.
Well, Mark, I mean, it's hard to believe this is our 20th season. Well, I'm glad to be back broadcasting with you here on Culpeper Media Network, and I'm telling you right now, Cannonball Classic, Culpeper's going to look to get its first win since, they've never won. They haven't beaten in 9 years, Eastern View, so it's going to be a big game tonight for Culpeper. But like I said, Cannonball Classic, it brings out the best in both teams. Looking for a good football game here tonight.
Steve, before we catch up with our coaches to talk about their analysis of tonight's matchup, I want to ask you, the Cyclones have had depth. They've gotten into the playoffs fairly deeply, particularly last year. They overcame a program hurdle by getting into the third round. Blue Devils, on the other hand, have struggled in recent years. They, unlike the Cyclones, have lacked depth. How can they possibly get into the win column against the Cyclones, considering the history and sort of the differences between these two programs?
Well, the way to get in the win column is they've got to play sound football, mistake-free. They don't have the depth that the Cyclones have, and they've got to really do a great coaching job from the coaching staff to get these kids coached up for tonight and be ready to play. But I think it's going to come down to whoever controls the line of scrimmage, and right now that's a big advantage to Eastern View. I'm
so glad you said that, because I was going to say the same thing, is that in those trenches is probably where the outcome is going to be decided. And with that being said, I'd have to give the edge to the Cyclones, but obviously anything can happen. So that's our analysis for now. Let's catch up with our coaches and see what they have to say about tonight's game. Coach, great to see you. I know that time is precious for you. I know you're ready to get the season going. How about tonight's Cannonball Classic? What's the feeling with the Cyclones going into tonight's game?
It's an exciting night. I think both teams are ready for the game. I'm sure it's going to be a tough football game, and we're going to have to show up and hopefully not make many mistakes, and that gives us a chance to win.
Coach, what are your keys tonight for victory?
I think controlling the clock and keeping the football and trying to force some turnovers to tackle and block well.
Coach, one final question. It seemed to me like you had a couple guys vying for that quarterback position. Is Matt Lowry your guy tonight? And what's the status of Till Butler?
Matt is our guy. Till is a broken collarbone, and he'll be back in a few weeks.
All right, Coach, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Good luck tonight.
Good luck tonight, Coach. Thank you very
much. Well, Steve, we had a chance to catch up with Coach Hatfield. We won't get a chance to catch up with Coach Wakefield tonight, but that's okay. I've got a feeling that the Blue Devils may be utilizing a little psychology here, because they haven't even come out in the field yet. Do you think that's a psychological ploy to say, hey, we're going to hold them a little bit in suspense, we're going to come out as a unit, and we'll give them something to think about?
Mark, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Exactly what it is. A psychological ploy, get the kids fired up. I know Coach Wakefield has talked about when he talked to us in pregame about the process, and now he has a chance to see if that process is going to come to fruition tonight against Eastern View. But yeah, you're right. It's a psychological ploy, trying to keep his kids focused, don't get distracted, because it is the Cannonball Classic. Come out with a single mindset, and that is to defeat Eastern View.
All right, if they do, it'll be the first time ever. So I think if you're Coach Wakefield, you got to dig down deep into that bag of tricks and keep digging until you find something that works. But I think what's really going to work on the field for them, they have got to figure out some way to protect that quarterback with some new additions on the offensive line. Otherwise, I think Eastern View's defense may smother them.
Right, Mark. You're absolutely right. They have to protect Eric Wilson tonight. They got to have great, outstanding play, offense and defensive line. And they also, from a defensive standpoint, can't give up the big play or the big run to Eastern View. And they got to keep track of Diego Hunter wherever he is.
We know that the Blue Devils are very mindful about how this series has unfolded. Last year they were shut out. You know they have a statement to make. But Steve, welcome back. I'm looking forward to starting another season with you. As we mentioned, our 20th season together. Whole lot of memories there, and we expect to make a whole lot of memories this season. So Your final thought.
Hey, I'm with you, brother. 20 years, kid doesn't get no better than this. High school football. I'm telling you, Cannonball Classic, ready to go. Let's go watch broadcast some football.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have team captains from both teams meeting in the center of the field for tonight's coin toss for the annual Cannonball Classic. Keep it right here. You're watching Blue Devils and Cyclones football on the Culpeper Media Network.
Green Roost, Clore English Funeral Home, K&M Lawn.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556.
What do your clothes say about you? Well, if they were screen printed or embroidered at Triple Image, they can speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image. 829-1050. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford offers award-winning service and unprecedented selection of new and used vehicles. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community.
CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found & Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime.
Cyclone Stadium, Eastern View High School. That's the site of this year's Cannonball Classic, and the Blue Devils will be receiving tonight's kickoff. And teeing it up for Eastern View is number 20, Garrett Hutchinson, a sophomore kicker. Steve, the Blue Devils were a little late getting here. We talked about that in the pregame, and that might have been some psychological ploy for the team. Whatever it takes, I think they're going to have to reach down and try to get some advantage, even if it's intangible, to try to get up past the Cyclones.
You're right, Mark. They're looking at any type of advantage they can get. And I think it's very important here for Culpeper on this first possession to really settle things down. If they can come down here and score and really, tell Eastern View we're here to play a football game. Now, I will say this, Mark. Looking at Culpeper, it's probably one of the bigger rosters I've seen Culpeper have in a long time. So it's going to be interesting.
Here's Hutchinson's kick. We're underway. This one's fielded inside the 10-yard line. On the return there, hard hit delivered. The return man was Nazir McDonald. And we expect to call that name several times for the Blue Devils because he's going to be the return man, one of two return men, and a primary receiver. So here are the Blue Devils setting up on offense as we start the season. And they're going to mark it at the 21-yard line. That's where Culpeper will start on offense. Eric Wilson is the quarterback, and he'll start in the gun.
It'll be interesting to see how Wilson gets off here on this first possession, this first series, Mark.
Here's Wilson going to keep it. Quarterback run, trying to get to the outside. He can't do it. They tackle him. They gang tackle him at about the 20-yard line. 4 or 5 Cyclones in on the tackle, including number 17, Zachary Brown, a junior linebacker. You see, we've got some new names on these rosters, but we got some familiar ones as well. So if you're the Blue Devils on offense here, Eric Wilson was your quarterback as a freshman a year ago. He returns as a sophomore. And interesting call on first down. They decided to run the quarterback, Eric Wilson, wide. Nothing doing. He lost a yard. It'll be 2nd and 11 from the 20-yard line. Looked like a little confusion in that backfield as trying to hand it off to the running back, Jaden Brown, number 25. And again, that's for naught. And they tackle him at the line of scrimmage. And it's going to be 3rd down and 11 here for the Blue Devils, Steve. And this is the sort of thing that you want to try to avoid. Try to get into a manageable 3rd down situation, not a 3rd and long.
Right, and Mark, that's what avoid. And right now, the Blue Devils haven't shown me much. First 2 plays on offense, kind of really plain vanilla, but they need to get, in order to Blue Devils score, they need to get the ball in their skill position players, and that's, Eric Wilson's got to be unleashed.
And he's throwing for the first time tonight. What a catch! Leaping up to grab it past midfield is number 6, Dede Colbert. Huge play for the Blue Devils all the way down to the Cyclone 45. And that results in a 45-yard pass play on 3rd down, Steve.
And Mark, and that's what Culpeper's got to do right there. Get the ball into their skill position players. You've got Ahmad Nawabi. You've got Colbert right there. You got Capone Huffman. Get it into the playmakers' hands and see what they can do.
Huge play, pass play by Eric Wilson. It was a nice pass, but I think an even greater catch by Colbert. Went up into the air and outfought the defender for it. They go back to the run here. Nothing doing. They hit him hard at the line of scrimmage. The ball carrier, number 15, Javay Colclaw. He's a junior. So the run game there, not there yet. So we'll see if they can establish something. The Cyclones been tough against the run traditionally. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Blue Devils. From the Cyclone 45-yard line, we're about 3 minutes into this first quarter here in the Cannonball Classic. Eric Wilson, your Blue Devil quarterback, in the gun. And they're going to hand it off to the ball carrier. A little bit of an opening there, and it closes pretty quickly. Once again, the ball carrier, number 15, Javay Colclaw. And the Cyclones, Steve, traditionally have done a good job of pursuing the football. We've got a 3rd down coming up. Oh, but we got a chop block penalty as well.
Yeah, that was going to be on number 1, Capone Hoffman. He came down chop block, Mark. Can't do that. But again, up front, you got led by Robert Straight, the center. He's their returning 3-year starter. Culpeper's got to do a better job up front in the offensive line. You got number 68, like I said, Straight, number 64, Daryl Fitzgerald, number 60, Brandon Miller. And then you've got Cameron Buckman, number 50, who's going to be in number 55. I don't see 55 on the roster. He just came in.
Well, I tell you what, I think the way that works, I'll look at that. I've got something here. I think if it's not, I'll tell you who it is. Lewis Chapman wears either jersey 7 or 55 for the team. And there he is there. I'm sorry. We got a whistle again. So the Blue Devils, Steve, after that big pass play that got the ball down to Eastern View territory at the 45. Then they went to the run, didn't gain much, and they had a chop block penalty, pushed him back to the 40. Now we have a whistle here as well.
And see, and David Level, at number 60, returning 4-year starter, is coming back for the Eastern View defense. He's going to clog it up in the middle. Then big 77, Jeff Stallings, who's the younger brother of Josh Stallings, who was a quarterback here for Eastern View.
Well, that was a 5-yard penalty against that Cyclone defense. Pushes the ball to the Blue Devil 45-yard line where it's 2nd down and about 18 to go for a 1st down. Wilson in the gun. They stick to the run, trying to get to the outside. Can't do it. Excellent pursuit by the Cyclone defense once more. And a host of Cyclones in on the tackle, including number 7, Jacob Ashwell, the linebacker, the ball carrier, number 15, Javay Colclaw. And now we've got another 3rd and long situation for the Blue Devils, Steve, and likely means a long pass. So the Cyclones will certainly be looking for it. How about that safety in there for Eastern View, number 3? You know what kind of athlete he is, Diego Hunter.
Diego Hunter, and number 5, Cohen King, is really showing me something too. But Hunter's going to pick up the, looks like he's going to be locked up on the slot on Capone Huffman.
Blue Devils load up the left side with 3 receivers, 1 to the near. Here's Wilson. Can the pressure? Here comes the pressure. He gets rid of it. He's got an open player out there at the 45-yard line, and he's going to be well shy of a 1st down. So now we'll have a decision for the Blue Devils, Steve. It'll be 4th down, and they're going to mark it at the Cyclone 42 or 43-yard line. They have to get to the Cyclone 36 for a 1st down.
And I think they're going to punt. This is a good move here, Mark, because you don't want to give Eastern View great field position. This is a good move here. Go ahead and punt the ball away. See what your defense can do. Eric Wilson got shaken up on that last pass play. He was rocked by number 6, Garrett Robinson for Eastern View. And Eric was, was a little shaken up getting off on the field. So we'll see what happens with him, as the game progresses.
Here's the snap. Gabe Fry's the punter, and he kicks away from Diego Hunter. And this one is going to be down inside the 15-yard line. So the Blue Devils kept the ball for about close to 5 minutes, which meant that they kept the Cyclone offense off the field. But now the Cyclone offensive players will come out for the first time. Looks like we may have a penalty here, too.
We got a penalty back here, and it's in the backfield, so see what the call is.
Is that an ineligible receiver?
Yeah,
or player downfield?
Downfield. Left too early.
Left too early, okay. So well, as they sort this one out, we'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There is peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. That's Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. 7:16 to play here in the first quarter at Cyclone Stadium. We are scoreless so far, but we've yet to see the Cyclone offense. We're going to see them momentarily after they mark off the penalty and decide exactly where that ball is going to be. So Eric Wilson and the Blue Devils really they kept the ball for about 5 minutes, Steve, but except for that one long pass play, not much to show for their effort.
No, it isn't, Mark, and they're going to have to do a better job up front. They're going to have to get into make sure Eric Wilson gets protected so he can find the time to find the receivers on down the field. But again, I know what Coach Wakefield's trying to do. They want to establish the run, but with Eastern View, they're so quick on defense and they pursue that football so fast. He's trying to balance the passing game with the run, and right now the run game hasn't been successful in this first series for Culpeper.
Looks like we may have a timeout on the field. Probably an official timeout as they try to get things set up here. It's been sort of a delayed call and walk-off on the penalty. Ultimately, they're going to have to decide where to place the ball, and it looks like right now it's going to be just past the 25-yard line.
And what I was getting ready to say, Mark, they look like they're confused with the officials. They thought that Eastern View, they could take it from the line of scrimmage when the punt was made and knock them further back, but that's not the case in that. They have to take it where the ball is fielded, when the ball was kicked and then caught, and then they tack on the yardage from there.
All right, so they have decided on the spot. It's going to be Cyclone ball at the 26-yard line. They go immediately to the run, up the middle, big yardage across the 40-yard line. Goes the running back there, number 4, Trey Holmes.
And Trey Holmes is bigger, stronger, faster than he was last year when he had toward the end of the season when he really came on strong for the Cyclones. And again, the Achilles heel for Culpeper is that run defense, and they just torched him right up the middle.
Straight up the middle for 16 yards. And they go back to Holmes here, off left tackle this time. And some second effort, gets close to midfield. And that'll be a pickup of 8 depending on the spot. So back-to-back runs with positive results for the Cyclones. And it is marked at midfield. So he picked up 8 yards. It's 2nd down and 2 for Eastern View at that spot. They started this drive on their 26. 2 plays later, they've moved it to midfield. Matt Lowry is the quarterback. Man in motion. They fake it to him. They hand it off to Holmes. And this time the Blue Devils, they weren't fooled on the little play action there. They were there waiting for the ball carrier. 3 or 4 players in on the tackle for the Blue Devils, including number 2, Nazir McDonald. So no gain. 2nd and 10 Cyclones from midfield. Clock running, 6:10 to play here in the first quarter, and we're scoreless so far.
And Eastern View is led up front by big all-everything, all-state selection, Kyle Smith, number 75. He's already got a scholarship offer to Army, I believe, and he's a big kid. He's going to lead the attack for the offensive line up front. But you also got number 50 is Cesar Alamonte in there up front for Eastern View, and then number 60 is going to be David Level. He's double duty. Mm-hmm. And number 70, Jason Southern's in there. And let me see if I can figure out.
And I wanted to talk about Jason Southern in just a minute. Push the ball back to the 45-yard line, Steve. It was a 5-yard penalty against that Cyclone offense.
Number 65, Adam Lillard, the other.
I just wanted to say that today, around lunchtime, I had a chance to meet the center's aunt. I want to talk about that in a minute. Southern is the player I'm talking about. Here's our first pass from Lowry, completed near the 45-yard line of Culpepper, and then his run after the catch gets the ball down to the 37-yard line of Culpepper and a Cyclone first down. Exactly. So Jason Southern, you mentioned him as a center, starting center as a sophomore, met his aunt today. Her name is Greta, and she was wearing the Eastern View shirt, and I said, are you ready for some football? She told me about her nephew, the starting center. Meanwhile, they go straight ahead with Trey Holmes, and Holmes, he had an opening, lowered his shoulder, picked up more yardage, and you get it down to the 25-yard line, and another first down for Eastern View.
And Mark, I'm impressed with the way Holmes is running, the power that he's displaying. Mm-hmm. He looks like, Kendrick Cuby, but not as shifty as Kendrick was, but he's got more power, especially up between the tackles. But you got to, I also going to say Matt Lowry, and a good throw to Zach Thomas. That's going to be his go-to receiver all season long. It's going to be his number 10, Zach Thomas. Expect him to have a big year in Cyclones.
And Zach Thomas is one of those returning veterans for the Cyclones, no doubt. Well, a pickup of 8 yards in the play. We've got 2nd down and 2 for the Cyclones. They go back to Holmes, it looks like. He got to the 15-yard line. And he may be just a little shy of the first down, depending on the spot. Clock running, we're down to 4:45 to play. It's going to be 3rd and short for the Cyclones. Remember, this drive started on their own 26-yard line. Here's Holmes again, straight ahead. He'll have a first down. And the Blue Devils combining for the tackle there, including Adam Mifsud, the linebacker, help bringing down. But it's a first down for the Cyclones as they have it. Looks like at the 16-yard line. 16. I'm sorry, the 11. This time they go wide with the running back, Diego Hunter. Blue Devils able to spread that one out and stay right with him for a short gain.
And number 55, you said that's Chapman, right? Correct?
Lewis Chapman. If he's wearing 55,
he is. That's
Chapman. He could be wearing 7 in other ball games. 3 yards on the pickup. Here is Holmes breaking tackles into the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern View.
Cyclone touchdown. Trey Holmes from about 9 yards out, Mark. Right up the middle, he was virtually untouched.
Sure did. Well, it was Holmes who did the bulk of the work for the Cyclones on that drive. They went really almost exclusively with the run, except for the one pass to Zach Thomas. And Trey Holmes, a lot of nice help from that offensive unit, the offensive line unit for opening up those holes, but Holmes got a lot of those yards on his own as well. Here on for the point after. The kick, it looks like it was partially blocked, but it's good anyway. Garrett Hutchinson connects, 7-0 Eastern View. And let's check this drive, Steve. They started the ball with about 7:15 to play. They score with 3:49 remaining in the first quarter. Unofficially, I have them 12 plays, 74 yards, and about consumed nearly 4 minutes of the clock. Eastern View up 7-0. What's your assessment of the Cyclone offense, how they moved down the field, and then Culpepper's defense trying to respond to that?
Well, Mark, I'm just going to sum it up in 2 words. Better athletes. Eastern View has better athletes. It's already proven, you can see it on the field. They're bigger up front, faster in the running back position. And so in order for Culpeper to stay in this game, they've got to play mistake-free football the rest of the way out, and they've got to find and make tackles. They've got to find that football, and they've got to, when they lay that first hit, it's got to be able to bring that man down. You're not going to arm tackle Trey Holmes.
And I'll add this, on the Blue Devils side of the ball, I mean, offensively, I think that they're going to have to establish some sort of running game and not put Eric Wilson in a 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 15 situation, because that's just not going to pay dividends for you.
No, and I think what they need to do, Mark, on offense is run them out, run screens, run some short pass patterns, because the running game is pretty much virtually non-existent unless they can get Capone Hoffman or Nazir McDonald loose. They're their skill players, and see if they can get them in one-on-one matchups with the secondary of Eastern View. But right now, Eastern View is just too strong up front, and it's showing.
Well, speaking of Nazir McDonald, he was the return man. And let's check the spot. Looks like it's going to be at the 24-yard line. So the Blue Devils trailing 7-0, come out on offense for the second time tonight. Eric Wilson, the sophomore quarterback, in the gun. Got a running back next to him. They load up the receivers right side with 3 of them and 1 top of your screen. Let's see if the Blue Devils can answer the Eastern View score. Here's Wilson. Dropping back, throwing downfield, incomplete, barely missed, and we got a penalty flag coming in. The ball intended for the receiver, Capone Hoffman, and I think that gives the Blue Devil faithful something to cheer about if it's a pass interference call against the defense.
It is, Mark. It's going to be on Diego Hunter. Capone Hoffman, it looked like Diego Hunter kind of was chopping at his arms and, pulling his arms down. If we can go to replay, you can see it. Is Capone Hoffman's just running a post pattern, and he's just going right down the middle of the field. But Diego made contact while the ball was still in the air, and if you do that in front of the officials, you're going to get caught every time.
Here, when we're watching the college and pro games, when you see a defensive pass interference like that, it's usually it's at the spot where they mark it, but this is back where they mark it off from the line of scrimmage. We had a couple of fouls going on there at the time, too.
What had happened was they declined the pass interference, so that's only 10 yards, and took the roughing the passer penalty unsportsmanlike 15 yards.
Gotcha. Right. So that moves it to the 39-yard line on the 15-yard penalty. It's 1st and 10 Blue Devils. Wilson back to pass again. This one off the hands of the intended receiver there, Nazir McDonald. He had a little bit too much smoke on that one, and a little bit behind the receiver. He got one hand on it.
Well, he had to hurry it. I mean, Eric Wilson's going to be under pressure. That offensive line is really going to have to do a good job in maintaining their blocks. But again, there was a little bit thrown behind the receiver there. But this is what Culpeper's got to do to keep the ball moving, Mark.
And they go back to that 3-receiver set on the right side, 1 to the left or top of your screen. Wilson operating from the gun. We got movement up front. Let's see who they penalize.
I think it's going to be on Culpeper. I think they flinched. We'll see what the call is.
Well, as they mark it off, looks like it is going to be against the Blue Devils. We'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Virginia Community Bank. When you bank with us, you can bank on us. That's Virginia Community Bank. Banking for life at 829-6034. So rather than 2nd and 10, it's 2nd and 15 now for the Blue Devils from their own 34-yard line. 3:32 to play here in the first quarter. If you're just tuning in, it's Cyclones 7, Blue Devils nothing. Eric Wilson, the quarterback. He throws, and I think he was hit as he released that. And that might have stung a little bit. He gets a little help from his teammates back to his feet.
He was hit by number 7 and number 6, Mark. Garrett Robinson and Jacob Ashwell both got there. And those are 2 new names we're calling this season on the defense. And right now, Ashwell and Robinson are playing excellent from the linebacker and defensive end position.
And this, again, is a situation that Wilson and the Blue Devils don't want to be in on a 3rd and 15. Let's try to pick up some of those starters in the offensive line for Culpeper, Steve. I know you mentioned Robert Stradiff. He's probably the most veteran lineman out there, and he handles the center position for them. Darrell Fitzgerald is a lineman, number 64, and a senior. I think he's playing that right tackle position.
Cesar Alamonte, number 50, is playing the left guard position.
Mm-hmm. Try to pick up the others as we can. We were not provided with starting lineup, so we pick them up as we can. Here's Wilson being pressured. He's going to lose a lot of yardage on this. He was moving backwards trying to get away from it, and instead they drop him for a huge loss all the way back inside the 10-yard line.
Hey, Mark, if Wilson keeps getting beat up like that, he's not going to last the season right there. I mean, he's already favoring his shoulder, and he's lucky that right there, I mean, he basically just got crushed. And like I said earlier, it's going to be up front, that offensive line. They're young. They're going to have to get together and be able to hold the blocks. Because
Steve,
right now, Eastern View is just too much for them up front.
That play resulted in a 29-yard loss. So now it's 4th and 44. Gabe Fry standing deep in his end zone to punt this one away. Here comes the pressure. They nearly got to it. Diego Hunter tries to get up under it. Oh, it looks like, I guess he called a fair catch, and then there was contact by Nazir McDonald, and the fans wanted a penalty on the play.
But there wasn't, he didn't bring him to the ground or anything. He let go of him, and so the officials are going to let that one go.
Well, it's going to be outstanding field position for Eastern View as their offense comes back to the field with a 7-0 lead. And they're going to mark it near the 30-yard line of Culpeper. So the Blue Devils, Steve, already they put their defense on its heels here and in position to have to make a stand.
Yeah, and Mark, they're going to have to make a stand here. They'll let this game get out of hand, and then it'll be all she wrote for Culpeper. But again, on that play, what Eric Wilson's got to learn to do when he's in trouble like that, and it's 3rd down and long, throw the ball away. Just throw it away. And live to play another day. Here
comes the dangerous Diego Hunter, making a couple moves, gets to the outside, headed to the end zone, and he's not quite in. They're going to mark him just shy of that pylon at about the 1-yard line. Well, there was a dangerous Diego Hunter. Once he got the edge, you knew something big was going to happen.
It's like you said, we called Diego the Hornet Hunter. I mean, he just comes in and just comes out of nowhere and stinks us. And he just stung the Blue Devils there for a big loss, big gain right there. And it looks like they're going to mark it just inside the 1.
And here is the handoff. They're going to give it to they're going to give it to Holmes, rather, isn't it?
It looks like Diego Hunter. Then they gave it to 3. They gave it to Diego.
Did they give it to Diego?
Yep.
From 1 yard out. Why not? He ran for 30 in the play before. Touchdown Eastern View, and that means Steve Peacock has his signature remark to say.
Touchdown! Diego Hunter from about 1 yard out, and finish that touchdown after that big long run, and puts Eastern View up by a score of 13-0.
Well, it didn't take them long, but of course they had the advantage of outstanding field position. Hutchinson on for the point after. This time a good snap, a good hold, and no question about this one. Straight through the uprights. 14-0 Cyclones our score with 2:22 to play here in the first quarter. And so, Steve, the Blue Devils have to come up with something. And really, as you pointed out in the pregame, it's going to be decided at that line of scrimmage with the linemen, because that's where I think, and you thought that the Cyclones had a definite advantage, and already we're seeing Eric Wilson being under a lot of pressure early on after the snap, and so it certainly doesn't bode well for Culpeper.
No, it doesn't, Mark, and it's up where the Blue Devils are weak right now. They're up front. It's on the line of scrimmage. They got a lot of work to do up front on the offensive line, and to give Eric Wilson time. Eric Wilson isn't going to beat you with his feet, all right? So he's going to beat you with his arm. Well, Eastern View's got a great game plan. Don't let him beat you with his arm. What they're going to do, we're going to put pressure, and make him force him into mistakes, and that's exactly what they've done. And now Eastern View's on top, 14-0.
And Garrett Hutchinson has teed it up, set to kick off to the Blue Devils. This is where Culpeper, they could probably get a lift from their special teams if they so inclined. But of course the Cyclones will have something to say about that. How about this crowd on hand tonight, Steve? A lot of people here at Cyclone Stadium.
It is that. It's a big game, Cannonball Classic. And I was reading in the Fredericksburg paper, and they had that football preview, Freelance Star, and Eastern View is one of the top 4A programs in the state.
Well, talking about the special teams play, Nazir McDonald gives his team a lift with an excellent return. He crossed into Eastern View territory. Pretty good run back. So the Blue Devils will have excellent field position. They're going to start on the Cyclone side of that midfield mark, and they're going to start at the 40. Oh, they're going to push the ball back, rather. They're going to mark it at the Culpeper 48-yard line. still good field position for Culpeper.
And he said he stepped out of bounds, and Mark, and that like I say, the coaching staff, you got to figure out a way to get the ball into your skilled players' hands, and that's exactly what Culpeper's got to do right now.
Well, this time Eric Wilson is under center for the first time here in the game. And maybe a little confusion out there and the Blue Devils called a timeout to think about this one. And we'll tell you that this broadcast is made possible by CFC Farm and Home Center, outfitting your family from head to toe since 1932. CFC Farm and Home Center at 825-2200. Blue Devils called the timeout with 2:14 to play here in the first quarter. Cyclones up 14-0. Steve, next week we get a chance to see a team that we really haven't seen during our career as broadcasters. That's Turner Ashby over in the Valley. They're over in Bridgewater, I think. And I've only been to Turner Ashby once. I went there in 1998 for a state championship game and saw that at Turner Ashby High School. Other than that, I haven't been there.
Well, yeah, they're right. Turner Ashby is going to be interesting to see us go over there. They're right there, really right outside Bridgewater in a town called Dayton.
Dayton, yeah.
And they're over in the Valley. It's about an hour and a half ride over there. And it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a tough test for the Blue Devils. I mean, for Eastern View.
That's where the Cyclones will be next week. But they're not thinking about that. We got a fumble in the backfield, and the Cyclones have recovered it.
But we have a flag, too, so let's see what the penalty is.
Well, Culpeper was trying to get it into the hands of Jordan Williams. He never had possession, dropped it in the backfield. The Cyclones were all over it. Let's see what the officials have to say. They're ringing the bell here as though the Cyclones are going to have it.
See what if it's movement, it's going to be offside legal procedure against the.
So the false start declined, and so the Cyclones, another break here. Remember when they were on offense the last time, they were the beneficiaries of outstanding field position. They had it on the Culpeper 31. It only took them 2 plays to find the end zone, and now they go back on offense for the third time tonight, again with outstanding field position. They have it marked at the Blue Devil 44.
And Mark, it looks like Culpeper's playing that 3-4 defense. But look up front. Look how much outmanned they are and outweighed by the Eastern View offensive line.
Here's Holmes over the right side this time, straight ahead. Positive yardage. Got inside the 35-yard line for the Cyclones and a first down. Down to 2 minutes and running here in the first quarter. Cyclones up 14-0 and in excellent position to add to that here if they can take advantage of this outstanding field position. This time it's the running back, I think it was Cameron Spangler, number 2. He shook off, no, it was Diego Hunter, my mistake. He shook off the first tackler, tried to get to the edge there, and then the Blue Devils had a little bit of help and were able to stop him after a short gain. But it was a second and short situation, and an easy pickup for the first down for Diego Hunter. And now they have it marked at the 33. Here is Hunter again. Stutter step, waiting for things to develop. And he tried that left side, picked up yardage inside the 30-yard line.
And Mark, and that's exactly what they're going to do with Diego Hunter. Right now, they know, Eastern View knows they've got size up front. And look how undermanned Culpeper is with that three-man defensive line front.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line for Eastern View must outweigh him by 40 pounds a man.
Here's Lowry. With plenty of time back there to decide what he wants to do. Now he dumps it off to Holmes out of the backfield. Here's Holmes lowering his shoulder and picking up positive yardage inside that 10-yard line. Wow, well, Lowry had plenty of time back there. He had a few choices, it looked like. He decided to go with the play that with the lowest risk, dump it off to Trey Holmes coming out of the backfield.
That was a great play. Lowry had time to sit there and take pictures and sign autographs before he was even touched. And he just rolled right out, found his safety valve Holmes, and was able to make it positive yardage.
Got down, picked up 17 yards, did Holmes, got down to the 10-yard line. First and goal from there. Here's Holmes straight ahead. And he's into the end zone for his second score tonight.
And Mark, it's a storm warning now. The siren's really going off. Cyclone touchdown.
1:06 remaining, 20-0 Cyclones. And again, they took advantage of great field position. And Trey Holmes back-to-back big plays for the Cyclones to extend that lead to 20. And now Garrett Hutchinson on for the point after. It's been all Eastern View so far here in this annual Cannonball Classic. A game the Cyclones have never lost. So we're going to have an offsides penalty over there against the Blue Devils, it looks like, which would result in half the distance to the goal.
And Mark, there's only been one close game in the 9 years of Cannonball Classic, and it looks like now it's going to be another blowout the way it's running right now with Eastern View on top, 20-0. And as we all know, in the second half, 35-point lead, the clock continues to run. So this is going to be interesting to see what Culpeper can do to respond. They've got to respond some kind of way.
So they move it half the distance to the goal here for the point after with the Blue Devils offside. Garrett Hutchinson kicks this one through the upright. 21-0 our score in favor of the Cyclones. 1:06 to play here in the first quarter. And this broadcast is made possible by Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. Battlefield Automotive at 547-3673. Well, Steve Peacock, Jody Krawchuk, and Mark O'Connell bringing you the play-by-play and color commentary of this Cannonball Classic, an annual event between the Cyclones and Blue Devils. And, the coaches said in the coaches show basically that it's good to have this game early on in the season because it can be kind of a distraction as you look ahead to it, get the game played, then move on. And this is really the other thing, too, is I like what Greg Hatfield said. It's like this is the only time they can't pull for each other when they play this one game.
Yeah, it's true, Mark. And, Culpeper's in a different district than Eastern View. Eastern View's in the 4A Battlefield. Culpeper's in the Division III. They're a Division III school, but they're in the Northwestern District. And like I said, right now, the way Culpeper's looking, it's going to be a tough season for the Blue Devils unless they can get the ship righted right here and see if they can respond.
Here's Hutchinson's kick. Blue Devils returning this one. At from about the 2-yard line. The return man there, Jordan Williams, got out across the 20 out to about the 22. That's where the Blue Devils will go back on offense, trailing 21-0 with 1 minute exactly to play here in the first quarter. Got a nice sunset developing over there, Steve.
It's pretty. And, I'm just looking at the defense and looking at when you just look at the tail of the two teams, and you don't want Culpeper to get discouraged, but right now it's just that Eastern View has the athletes, Mark, and it's showing right now in the field. And, you can be good. I mean, there's the old saying in sports, you can have all the heart, the guys that play and have the biggest heart, but if you don't have talent, I'm telling you, you're not going to win. And Eastern View right now has got talent.
Let's see what the Blue Devils can do here. They go back with Wilson in the gun. Short pass on the slant, incomplete. Do it a little bit behind the intended receiver, Capone Hoffman. 2nd and 10, Culpeper.
And defending was Cameron Spangler, who really came on last year, Mark, who's now worked himself into one of the top DBs in the state. And, I was reading the Roanoke Times, and they did an issue in their football preview, and they're talking about, everyone wants to knock off your school, Salem. And they're in the top 10. They're the defending champs, but Eastern View is in there. They have them right out at number 11. But, Eastern View is playing itself into the mix in the top, Division 4. It's probably the best loaded division in Virginia as far as high school football. Probably got the most talent.
Could very well be. If you look at, he was in the playoffs last year. I mean, it was just the 4A was loaded.
And they're all coming back. They're all ranked in the top 10. You still have Salem. You still have Lafayette. You still have Dominion. You still have Blacksburgers in the mix in the top 10 this year. You have Kingsport out of the Tidewater region. You have Sharando is another tough school.
Where's Lake Taylor in the mix?
Lake Taylor, I was getting ready to say Lake Taylor.
And then what about Dinwiddie?
And Dinwiddie.
Yeah,
they're all loaded. They're all in the mix. So,
yeah.
And Eastern View is to win the 4A It's probably, like I said, the toughest division of all the state in football, even better than Division 6. You win the Division 4, you've done something.
Yeah.
Culpeper, they're a Division 3 team. So, and this year, you explaining points are still going to work and they mean something. But what hurts Eastern View is because not too many 5A and 6A schools want to play them, and we're in a rural area. It's hard for Eastern View to get those points, and because they're playing a bunch of either Division 4 or Division 3, and don't get the big bonus points when they play the big schools.
All right, we'll return to that here in just a minute. After the timeout, Blue Devils on offense here. Throwing on second down. Coming back for the ball was Capone Hoffman, and Hoffman fighting, trying to get a little extra yardage out there. We got a penalty flag coming in late, and it could be a face mask.
Could be a face mask, Mark, but again, that was a kind of a wounded duck by Eric Wilson, but it was a good athletic play by Capone Huffman to come back, see his quarterback in a little bit of trouble, come back and help him out.
You know, Steve, since you brought up the 4A and opened up that window of opportunity for me, I get a chance to give my Spartans a plug there because they've won back-to-back 4A state titles, and I'm going to tell you, I went down to William and Mary for the state championship game and saw them play Dinwiddie, and that was one of the most exciting games I've seen in a long time because both teams had big play capability, and it was just back and forth exciting the whole time. And Salem opens the season tonight against Amherst. Last year they opened against them and actually lost to them, and I thought, this is no way you can play for a state title, but you never know what happens in the season. You know, and Amherst had a pretty good team, but they lost their quarterback.
Yeah,
and that hurt them.
That hurt them, and then see, now the penalty you're right, Mark.
Yeah.
It was personal foul against Eastern View, but you got to look at it. Dinwiddie's loaded. They bring everybody back.
Yeah, they may have lost. I think they lost their quarterback. But they brought back some highly skilled receivers. But and they were big. All right, Blue Devils trying again to go with the run, and still not much doing. The Cyclones really plugging that up, Steve. There's just no running room for those Blue Devil backs.
No, there isn't, and because Eastern View's quicker, Mark, and look how much bigger and stronger they're up front. Led by 77 Jeff Stallings and David Level. And I should say now David Denning Level.
Well, the final seconds of this first quarter are ticking off. We're down to 5 and counting, and the two teams will be content to let that run down. And there is the sound that signals the end of the first quarter. So we played one quarter here at Cyclone Stadium. It's been all Eastern View. Cyclones up 21-0. We'll take a break and come back for the start of the second right after this. Wow, look at that. Steve.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556.
What do your clothes say about you? Well, if they were screen printed or embroidered at triple image, they can speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image. 829-1050. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford offers award-winning service and unprecedented selection of new and used vehicles. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community.
CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime.
Getting ready to start the second quarter. Blue Devils have it. There's a little bit of running room, the biggest we've seen so far tonight for the Blue Devils. The line of scrimmage was a 47, a running back there.
Number 15.
Yeah, number 15. That's Jave Coleclaw. Got inside Eastern View territory. They mark it at the Cyclone 47, so he picked up 5 yards, and it brings up 3rd down and 3. Opening minute of the second quarter. If you're just tuning in to this Cannonball Classic, it's been all Cyclones so far. Eric Wilson, the Blue Devil quarterback, has been harassed and pressured throughout the game. The Blue Devils trying to establish a running game, and it looks like, oh, we got a fumble. It's picked up by Diego Hunter, and Hunter is going to take it all the way for the Cyclone touchdown. Right when I was just about to say the Blue Devils were beginning to establish a running game. All of a sudden they coughed it up, and Hunter did the rest, Steve.
And they just coughed it up. And number 15, Jave Coleclaw, just lost it right and popped right into Diego Hunter's hands. And then Diego was able to take it in for the Cyclone touchdown.
And I'm going to say that the spot was probably around
it was on the 47.
47. Though give him the credit for at least a 53-yard fumble recovery. Diego Hunter's second touchdown. Checking into the game there, big number 70 for Eastern View, and that's Jason Southern. He has been the center, but on the special teams it might be a different player. Let's check and see who that is. Is it number 8?
Number 8.
All right. Well, let's
Timothy.
Number 8.
Cody Howard.
Cody Howard. Well, should be able to remember that number fairly well. This one's blocked, the point after, and that might be the only thing that hasn't gone Eastern View's way tonight, Steve.
Yeah, and Mark, and that helps the Blue Devils, because that means if Eastern View scores again, they got to go for 2 to get that 35-point deficit. So to get up, 35. See, right now they come back and score another touchdown, extra point only puts them up 34.
Steve, I've always had an appreciation for them, but I think I have a greater appreciation now for that long snapper. I was talking to someone who's out of Spartanburg, South Carolina, of all places, whose son was specializing in that position. And how neat that is, because very few people can play it, and if you can play it and excel at it, you can go places on teams. And and I was talking in the coach's corner, even the most avid football fans, if you pick your team, for example, any team, and someone says, well, who's your long snapper? People go, I don't know, who is the long? You don't think about that much, but it's such an important position. Well, Jason Southern is their starting center, but on the special teams play, we saw Cody Howard come in as the long snapper, and he wears jersey number 8. That shouldn't be hard to remember if you follow lacrosse, because Cody Howard also wears number 8 on the lacrosse field.
Oh, okay.
I know you probably knew that.
No, something I didn't know.
Stumped Steve Peacock.
Yeah.
Well, that's because lacrosse hasn't really been on your radar like soccer has.
Yeah, lacrosse is played the same time soccer is. So.
Yeah, here's the kickoff. Hutchinson keeps this one on the ground. Blue Devils, Nazir McDonald picks it up near the 10-yard line. He's looking for some running room. Looking for a block or two. Pretty good return out across the 30-yard line. So Nazir McDonald trying to give his team a lift or a spark out there. See, they need something.
They do need something, Mark. Eastern View just dominated this ball game, but we're getting back to you talk about the difference between the two teams. You can just see it: depth, athleticism, and in the way in execution. Right now, Culpeper is just not executing the plays that they need to in order to stay competitive in this game.
And Steve, speaking of lacrosse, one of our supporters of these broadcasts is Found & Sons.
Mm-hmm.
Found & Sons investing in youth at all levels to help make tomorrow's leaders. That's Found & Sons at 825-3530. 10:51 to play here in the second quarter. Cyclones holding a huge advantage, 27-0 right now. And the Blue Devils starting this drive from their own 29-yard line. Eric Wilson in the gun. Spread the receivers, dropping back to pass. Here's Wilson. It's a high toss. Unable to bring it in was the receiver. And that one was intended for number 25, Jaden Brown. They have him listed as a tight end on offense and a defensive end on defense. So an incomplete pass makes it 2nd down and 10 for the Blue Devils from the 29.
And see, each of you knows that in order for Culpeper to get back in this ballgame, they're going to have to throw the ball. And so, that's going to play into Diego Hunter, Cameron Spangler's hands, and that secondary back there. And also, number 8 for is Cody Howard in the back in the defensive secondary. And who else is back there next to Diego? I think it's 5, Cohen King.
Okay, here's Wilson, low snap. They hand it off to the running back trying to get to the edge. Can't do it. He is greeted by 3 or 4 players in those black jerseys. Let's check. The ball carrier that was number 23, Julio Forloins. That was his first carry tonight. He was greeted rather rudely out there by that Cyclone defense. They just are really stingy against the run, aren't they?
No, they sure are. They're just really pounding it in there, and they're just doing a great job in there. And I'm trying to get number, is it 50? Is it 53? For, I can't, is it 59? 59, Avery Seitz.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a whale of a ball game in the defensive line as well.
All right, here's 3rd and long. It's 3rd and 13 to be exact for Culpeper from the road 26. After that 3-yard loss, here's Wilson, another low snap, gets rid of it quickly, going downfield. This one nearly picked off. Well, it was picked off, but we got a flag down. Coming up with the ball was Cohen King, number 5. Let's check the penalty flag there, Steve.
It's probably going to be interference against Eastern View because they made contact while the ball was in the air, and see what the call is. Probably going to be pass interference or illegal contact defense.
But that wouldn't necessarily be an automatic first down if it's a 10.
No.
How many yards is that, 10?
10.
And it was 3rd and 13. Would it come up 3 yards shy of a first down then?
And it's going to come.
No, they're still marking it off.
Ooh,
Now they mark it out to the 41-yard line. That is enough for a first down. You'll have to tell me all about that one. Was it a 15-yard penalty?
15 yards, Mark.
Okay, so it is a first down because it was 3rd and 13.
Yep, so it's a 15-yard.
And they marked off 15 to the 41, so a little bit of a break for the Blue Devils there.
Big break for the Blue Devils. Big break.
So it's 1st and 10 Culpeper from their own 41. 9:50 to play here in the second quarter. It's been all Cyclones so far, 27-0 in their favor. Blue Devils load up this left side. Quick toss near side, and a nice open field tackle by Diego Hunter. On the receiver, D.D. Colbert. Nowhere to go. If you can't make that first man miss, you got yourself some trouble out there if you're the receiver, aren't you?
You got that right, Mark.
And Diego Hunter is probably going to be a hard guy to shake as the first defender. Not a big guy, but he's a smart football player. And you don't expect him to make too many mistakes, do you?
You don't, Mark. And you got number 11 for Eastern View, Cody Costello in. Another player I'm looking at, he's a wrestler, isn't it, Zach Brown? He's playing the linebacker position.
That's right. Good point. Saw that as well. Yeah.
He's playing very well.
All right. No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10. Here come the. Oh, we got Wilson dropping it. Can't find it. But the Cyclones can. Well, they were coming with some pressure. And it didn't take them long to get in that backfield. Well, it's recovered by number 59. And that is Avery Seitz, and you were just talking about him, Steve.
And Mark, and the thing is too, what's bothering me about Eric Wilson is when he dropped the football, this is the second time, he doesn't make a reaction and go after the football. He just stands there and watches it. And he needs to be on that football and jumping right on it. And I don't know if he's just a situational awareness, doesn't know where he is, but he couldn't find the football, and he was just like, just standing there, and they just pounced on it. Now another turnover for Culpeper, and Eastern View is going to look to cash in.
Well, we've got it at the Blue Devil 32-yard line. Here's Lowry. He's got plenty of time to go to work. Left-handed throw, spiral down the field, rather. One-on-one coverage out there, nicely done. The intended receiver was number 10, Zach Thomas. He's a veteran and defending excellent position. D.D. Colbert batted that one away. I was going to say about Eric Wilson, my observation, I could have been wrong, but it looked to me like he didn't know where the ball was.
Right, and I agree with you there. But that play on Lowry right there, Lowry's got to throw more on the rope, not air it out like that.
They go back to the run, and why not? Trey Holmes straight ahead inside the Blue Devil 25-yard line. Picked up a chunky yardage there. He's going to be a little shy of a first down. But every time they've gone to Trey Holmes, good things have happened for them, no doubt.
Mark, he's just impressed me from the difference from a year ago. He's older and stronger, but they said he's the leading bench presser in the weight room for Eastern View, and it's showing.
Yeah, and this time the Blue Devils are there waiting for him, wrap him up for no gain on the play.
Number 20.
Yeah, number 20 for Culpeper. And on the tackle was George Mosley. And George Mosley, I believe we know that name from lacrosse as well.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be about 4th and about 1, Mark, a little bit less than 1.
And Steve, the Cyclones have yet to see a 4th down situation. They keep it with Lowry straight ahead, got a 1st down and more, much more. Lowry still on his feet as he fights for yardage. He's inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Cyclones, knocking at the door once more.
And Mark, the smart thing too is he stayed in bounds, so the clock will continue, which should be running once they reset after the flag. They reset the mark. The clock will start, but he stayed in bounds. And that's a good sign of the quarterback, what he wants to do. He knows where he is, what the clock is.
Well, where he was he finished with about 16 yards in the play. This time to get back to Diego Hunter. Makes a couple guys miss and dances his way to the end zone from 8 yards out. Another touchdown for Eastern View.
And it's a Cyclone touchdown. Sound the storm sirens. Diego Hunter from about 8 yards out.
Did you see the way he danced his way into there with that footwork?
Like the darting hornet.
The darting hornet, yeah. He can sting you or he can dart away from you.
Yep.
His choice sometimes. 7:33 to play here in this one in the second quarter. Cyclones up 33-0, and they're going to line up for 2 points here.
They're going to go for 2, so you get that 35-point working margin, Mark.
Well, you've got Diego Hunter and Holmes back there. They go with Diego Hunter, trying to bounce to the outside. Blue Devils wrap him up, but Hunter, a little extra effort there at the end. He crosses the goal line. The 2-point conversion is good. So Hunter, an 8-yard touchdown run, and then the 2-point conversion. It looked like the Blue Devils had a chance to stop him, but he just kept those legs churning.
He's so difficult to bring down, Mark. You know, the Freelance Star did on their football preview, the short and tall of it. They had Nana Sidhu from North Stafford, who's going to Penn State, who's 6'6", about 270, and then they had Diego Hunter at 5'4", about 160.
The contrast?
Yeah. Saying that, hey, the thing is, everyone, like Coach Hatfield said, if Diego Hunter was about 6 inches taller than he is now, every school in this country would be wanting him. But right now, he's not getting any looks from colleges.
I was going to say,
they just look at his height and say, nope, not interested.
Because
to put a Division I scholarship together for Diego, and the cost over $140,000 for 4 years, and they invest a lot of money. Is like when they look at it, college coaches say, hey, look, we can go out and recruit 6'1", 6'2" guys who are just as fast.
Yeah, but there's that. That's inescapable.
That's inescapable. But what they don't know is this kid's heart and what a good football player he is. And I would like to see maybe him, he would fit in for like a JMU, Richmond, school like that, a division, subdivision team, Division I AA. He would fit in great, and he could be a situational football player because wherever Diego ends up there and he does decide to play, they're going to get a great super football player.
Well said. Well, I don't know if this is a fair comparison or not, but remember, if the NBA scouts had looked strictly at height, would Spud Webb have ever played?
No. Look at Mr. Jennings from Culpeper. He
Yeah.
played for Golden State. And look at Stevie Strother. The same, Stevie Strother went on to start at Southern Illinois, another division, FCS division school. And then he ended up was the all-time, all yardage, all-purpose yardage player for Southern Illinois.
Near side throw to Colbert, makes a nice move, made a couple of guys miss, took a pretty hard hit along the Eastern View sideline, and a penalty flag will come in. Will that be an late hit? I was going to say unnecessary roughness, but a late hit along the sideline.
And Coach Hatfield is going ballistic. And I believe that was just a legal hit. It wasn't any bad. He's saying he targeted him. Yep, there it is.
With the helmet?
With the helmet.
Yeah. Because, see, it wasn't a personal foul where you have the crossing of the wrists to indicate it. It was the hand to the helmet, or to his head, that showed it was a helmet contact.
But that's football. See, this is what's getting coaches frustrated right now. These officials, that was a heck of a tackle. And he, what do you expect the defensive player to do? They're going to hit with their head. I mean, they're just saying that he led with his head. Well, I disagree with that call.
Well, they tacked it on against the Cyclones. That was their second big penalty tonight against them. But other than that and a blocked extra point, they really haven't done much wrong tonight, up 35-0. Steve, I don't think we get to the continuously running clock till the second half.
Correct. Doesn't start till the second half.
Here's Wilson being flushed out of the pocket. Now throws on the run. This one caught. Gabe Fry makes the catch. Oh, he's got some running room out there. Gabe Fry picks up yardage. We've got a penalty flag near the 35-yard line.
And I think that's coming back, Mark. It's going to be a block in the back after the catch against Culpeper, it looks like. That
was Culpeper's biggest play of the night, and they went to Gabe Fry for the first time here on offense.
And yeah, they need to, once Gabe gets going, he's a tough man to bring down. It's just that he doesn't have that real quick first step with some other backs. But yep, blocking the back against Culpeper.
So do they assess? So how do they do it? Do they assess it at the
spot? That's from the spot.
Well, as they mark this one off, we'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Triple Image. Make your clothes speak volumes with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image at 829-1050. Mark O'Connell, Steve Peacock, Johnny Krawczyk with you tonight on behalf of the Culpeper Media Network. Johnny, of course, the man behind the camera. And our debut, as well as these two teams' debut for the season as we start the 2017 year. And they started off here in the annual Cannonball Classic. Well, it was a nice play to Gabe Fry, but they lost a lot of that yardage with that block in the back that you were talking about. Here's Wilson throwing near side. This receiver, nowhere to go. Armani Hoffman. And another nice tackle about that Eastern View defender. Was it Spangler who came up?
Cody Howard.
Cody Howard, number 8.
Number 8.
So he actually lost a yard on the play. And it's going to be second down and 11.
Second and 11, looks like, Mark. But, look at these defensive backs for Eastern View. They had to replace some, they had to replace Caden Woodward from last year, an all-state player. And, it looks like they haven't missed a beat with that secondary, but they got some lacrosse players, which are good athletes, Mark.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Get a chance to see them during lacrosse season. Cody Howard, the leading scorers for Eastern View. Here's a penalty flag and a delay of game against Culpeper. It cost them 5 yards. Mark this one back into Culpeper territory now at the 47.
And Culpeper's just self-destructing, Mark. And the coaching staff needs to get the play in there to him quicker.
Second down now and 16 for the Blue Devils back on their side of midfield. From the 46, Wilson in the gun. Can the protection hold up? He rolls to his left, looking downfield, no one there. And Wilson will keep it and step out of bounds before the contact comes. Got back some of that lost yardage, going to bring up 3rd and long. There's Wilson, number 5. Let's check the spot. Well, they're going to say it's the 49, so he only picked up 3 yards. Stepped out of bounds at the 49. So it's 3rd and 11 from that spot. Picked up 5. We're about midway through the second quarter here. In fact, we have 6 minutes and 8 seconds to play. The clock has stopped after Wilson went out of bounds and reset the line of scrimmage, or marked the ball rather. 3rd and 11. Blue Devils have it at the Eastern View 49-yard line. Eric Wilson now looking at another big 3rd down and long situation. Wilson unleashes one. He's got a couple of receivers out there. Unable to, or did he bring it in? No, they went up for it. And that would have been a very, look at this. This is a catch.
It's his catch, but it's
unbelievable.
It's saying it's the Eastern View.
I'm not really sure about it. They're marking it down here for Culpeper, Steve.
They are.
That was a tremendous catch. That would be worth another look.
And tie goes to the receiver. It was a great catch right there. Trying to figure out who made the catch. It might have been Colbert.
Number 6.
Yep.
Chris, did you have Colbert catching that? Okay, number 6, D.D. Colbert Very athletic catch to go up and get that one. Huge play for the Blue Devils. It was 3rd and 11. Here's Wilson losing it again. He'll have to eat the ball, and the Cyclones make sure that they smother him. So a little bit of mishandling back there, Steve, on the snap, and Eric Wilson has dropped it a couple times, and just some confusion about finding the ball. It takes away something good that had happened a moment ago. Now they'll go to the sidelines and talk about this one, it looks like.
He's just shaking up. Eric Wilson's a little shaken up, especially on an ankle. It looks like they're going to sub him out. It looks like he's going to be in there. It looks like Hoffman's going to be in there as the quarterback because Eric's going to the sideline.
So it's number 1, Capone Hoffman.
Yep.
Yeah, he's on the roster as a quarterback and defensive back. He's a junior. This will be our first look at Hoffman. He wears jersey number 1. It's 2nd down and 15 for the Blue Devils. They have it at the Cyclone 21-yard line. So Hoffman, here's his debut. And he was going to run with it, and the Cyclones were there to make sure there was no wiggle room for Hoffman.
Well, Hoffman can run better than Eric Wilson, so he brings a different element right there in the backfield. But he doesn't have the arm strength that Eric Wilson has. But right now, it looks like they're looking at Eric Wilson's ankle or knee over there on the sideline.
Well, now the Blue Devils are looking at a 3rd and 24, Steve. You know, they'd moved the ball down to about the Eastern View 11 on that huge pass play. And then they start moving in reverse. Now they have it 3rd and 24 on the Eastern View 30. Capone Hoffman, now the quarterback. Here come the Cyclones' pressure. They pick it up some, and he heaves it downfield. Coming back for it, Cody Howard coming back to knock this one away. So Cody Howard, another play for the Cyclones. You've singled him out some tonight too. Diego Hunter as well, and some others, and they were trying to get it to Colbert, and now it's 4th down. And if you're the Blue Devils, you really have to go for it here. What else can you do?
You got to, Mark. You got to get points on the board. You can't punt it away. I mean, you're too close. You're going to punt it in the end zone. So you're going to have to throw it up there. And so Eastern View is going to be looking. Coach Hatfield and the staff, the defensive coaches are telling their players, look, ball's in the air, knock it down. Just knock it down. We'll get the ball back.
At the 30-yard line, yeah. All right, Capone Hoffman in there for Eric Wilson on 3rd and long. Here come the Cyclones again. Hoffman stepping up, got away from the one defender and a second one. And then coming over to wrap him up to make the tackle was Garrett Robinson. And that's how the Blue Devils finished that sequence. And they're going to turn it over to the Cyclones now. That was 4th and 24. And so Eastern View's offense back in the field, leading 35-0, 3:41 to play. And looks like they're going to mark it, Steve, just inside the 30-yard line.
And Eastern View's going to look to grind it out here, Mark, and see if they can come down here and score. But I've been looking at his sideline, Culpepper, and Eric Wilson doesn't look like, he looks like he's shell-shocked a little bit. He's been hit quite a bit, and I don't know if we're going to see him the rest of the game or not.
3:41 to play. Cyclones back on offense. There's Lowry handing it off to Holmes. Holmes greeted in his tracks, pushed back. Several Blue Devils in on the tackle, including number 42, Adam Mifsud. And looks like he lost a couple yards. It'll be 2nd and 12. Cyclones from their own 25. Clock continues to run down to 3:15 and counting. Second quarter, 35-0 Eastern View. Here's Lowry. Got time, throwing, got a receiver out there in the flat. And that's number 12, Camden Lewis. First time we've called his name tonight, but he picks up the Eastern View's first down, Steve. There he is, number 12, Camden Lewis.
And he was wide open in the flats, Mark. It was a good pass play, good read by Lowry. Find Lewis in there in the flat, wide open.
Yep, 15 yards and a first down. Now they move the sticks. Just under 3 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Cyclones have it 1st and 10 from their 40. Matt Lowry, the quarterback. Here he is. Got plenty of protection over there. Throwing, got Diego Hunter. But we've got a whistle. I believe the ball hit the ground.
So the ball hit the ground.
So it'll be
Diego was off to the races.
Well, he doesn't mind fielding a one-hopper, right? Like a good shortstop. But you can't do that in football, can you?
Nope, you got to catch it in the air. It looks like Eastern View was wanting to hurry up offense a little bit, Mark, the 2-minute offense.
Well, it'll keep the Blue Devils maybe guessing a little bit. No guesswork here with Trey Holmes. When they hand the ball off to him, usually that means they're going straight ahead. And he gets out to about midfield, which means, well, they're going to mark it at the 40, near the 49, 48, inside those two hash marks.
Because, you know, Mark, they lost Montrez Orange to a devastating knee injury last year.
Yeah.
He's still recovering.
Here's Holmes picking up first down yardage. Straight ahead he goes. Blue Devil territory down at the 40-yard line. He picked up 12 yards and a Cyclone first down.
And he, you know, and he stepped up when, you know, along with Justin Pollard last year. Pollard's graduated along with Eddie Russell. They're playing in Hampton-Sydney. But, you know, Holmes is just, he's just a rock, and he's built like Kendrick Cuby. He doesn't have the moves of Kendrick, but he's got the power.
Well, that was a pretty good first step by Holmes, and then he lowered his shoulder, and the one on the solo tackle made by Capone Hoffman, but not before Holmes picked up 15 yards and another Cyclone first down. They have it 1st and 10 at the Blue Devil 25. 2:07 to play here in the second quarter. Lowry throws out there to his receiver, Zach Thomas. And Zach Thomas picks up yardage and close to another Cyclone first down.
And you know, Trey Holmes is wearing another, what's number 4 famous for Eastern View? Who wore number 4?
Well, it wasn't Kendrick Cuby, he wore 25.
Right, it's Stevie Strother.
I thought he wore 3.
Yeah, that's right, he did wear 3.
All right, you were trying to stump me, right? Trick question, wasn't it? Yeah.
I thought he wore 4.
I thought Strother wore 3. But anyway. Oh, a little play action, and they throw it to the receiver, and that's number 25, Camden Lewis. And he's going to be just shy of the goal line, isn't he? How about that play?
That was right over the middle, Mark. Perfect. Good play by Lowry. Just dropped it in on a dime.
Okay, am I correct in calling that name? Was it 25? Camden Lewis? Or do we have someone?
No, it'd be 25. It's listed as Noah
25
Proctor.
is Noah Proctor. Where did I get the Camden Lewis?
That was Proctor.
Was it Proctor?
Yep.
Number 25?
That's Chris. Is he? Noah Proctor.
And we got Proctor on the reception. My mistake.
Ball's on the 2.
So they have it where? Is it the 1 yard line?
Ball's on the 2.
All right, they go back. Oh, a little play action. This one thrown behind their intended receiver. They tried to get it once more to Noah Proctor. No chance that time.
Tried to do a little misdirection right there. Almost backfired on him.
Yeah.
So
I thought the same thing.
They need to go back to the bread and butter. Now they've got in there who's besides Lowry in the backfield.
Jalen Veeney. Veeney, his first carry, runs into a stone wall. The Blue Devils stopping. And in on the tackle, number 50, Cameron Buchanan.
And see, Veeney's got to learn when he's in there, don't run straight up. He stood straight up. He needs to lower that shoulder and, you know, put in the tough yards to bring it back. Trey, the Bulldozer Holmes. Trey the Tank. That's a good name. Trey the Tank Holmes.
Or Truck.
Truck.
All right, it's 3rd down. Back to the run. Diego Hunter. Well, if you give the ball to Diego Hunter, he's probably going to find his way into the end zone, and he does. Is that his 3rd touchdown tonight?
3rd touchdown tonight. Cyclone touchdown. Diego Hunter from 2 yards out, Mark.
Makes the score 41-0 with 1:09 to play here in the second quarter.
Last year, Culpeper lost by a score of 42-0. Here it is going to be 42-0 to end the first half.
Well, the holder is Zach Thomas, and this year's kicker, Garrett Hutchinson, sophomore. Thomas does a good job of getting that one down, and Hutchinson kicks it through, and it's 42-0. Well, that was our score last year.
And you know, Mark, you go back to how important the long snapper is. You now got colleges looking, like you said, kids can be a long snapper. You don't have to be a big lineman to do it.
No, you don't.
And
the rules
to protect you.
Yeah, the rules are designed to protect them because as long as their head's down, they can't. The defender can't make contact with them.
And so, the thing is, you got kids now just being long snappers, and fathers working with their sons, and they're trying to send out tapes and stuff to football coaches see how well they long snapper, because like you said, even at the pros, it's tough to find a long snapper, and they pay them pretty well.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's a specialized position. I mean, most people can't play it. I mean, it's just, how many people can even try?
But you got to get a spiral back. It's like being a quarterback, but you got to be able to spiral that ball back.
Yeah.
10 yards? Back from 10, 15 yards to get there on that spiral. So.
And everything, if you look at the kicking game, the snap, the hold, and the approach by the kicker, it's all about timing.
Yep.
And if you're off a little bit on the snap or the hold, then the kicker's timing's off too.
Yep.
So it's all got to be synchronized there. This ball was dropped, then picked back up by the return man there, number 81 of Culpeper. Pretty good return, considering Jordan Williams had a delayed start on that one. But Steve, the Blue Devils obviously need a big spark from someone, somewhere. And with Eric Wilson being shaken up on that last series and Capone Hoffman coming in, that's an early blow to this team.
It is, Mark.
Nothing against Hoffman, but I mean, he's not your starting quarterback.
He doesn't have, and there's another, it's just that, injuries. Culpeper doesn't have the depth of Eastern View and doesn't have the backups. And not, like you said, nothing against Capone Hoffman. He's a great athlete, but it's going to be very hard for Culpeper to, come on. But it looks like,
Well, Hoffman's back in there, and you know how you can tell? He wears the pink shoes.
Yep.
And it looks like with a minute 1 remaining, Hoffman's going to go under center this time. And they're going to go off left tackle with the running back there, number 34, Riley Harrison. He is a freshman. That's the first time we've called Harrison's name tonight. Clock continues to run. We're down to 45 seconds and counting here in the second quarter. And if you're just tuning in, it's 42-0 Eastern View, and that score is indicative of how this game has played out. Eastern View has not done much wrong here tonight, and they have taken advantage of their opportunities. They've established a running game. They've smothered Culpeper's running game for the most part, and we got a whistle here. I believe it's going to cost it's a timeout, looks like. But Steve, what else has impressed you about Eastern View tonight?
The way they played and how well coached they are, Mark, and that they don't make mistakes, okay? And they capitalize on other teams' mistakes. And I was looking across the way at Eric Wilson. I don't think we're going to see him the rest of the night. They're looking at his ankle. And, right now, it's just Eastern View. It's just a dominant football team, and you can just see it. They're just dominating all facets of the game.
And this is not well conceived out there at the time. We got a false start. So we got the Blue Devils not on the same sheet of music with that one.
No.
Cost them another 5 yards. It pushes it back to the 19-yard line. With 11.2 seconds to play, would you be conservative here with the Blue Devils so you don't give up something? Maybe let the clock run out?
They're going to let the clock run out here, Mark. It would be, they're not, they get one more play. But the thing is that, on that last play, that penalty, it looks like the whole line moved, but the center didn't move.
Yeah.
And, that's probably because of cadence issues. And, with a new quarterback coming in, it looks like a little exchange of pleasantries. How's your neighbor? How's your wife? Excuse me.
That's well, they went, Blue Devils went with the last few seconds with the run, and it did not amount to much of anything. And the clock, it looks like, has expired. And looks like we've played 1 half here at Cyclone Stadium. Well, we have. And so you're looking at the Cyclones marching off to the locker room. Now the Blue Devils will leave the field. Johnny hones in on that scoreboard. That's a fact, 42-0. We've played 1 half here at Cyclone Stadium. We'll take a break and come back after the intermission for the start of the third. Stay tuned. You're watching Blue Devils and Cyclones football here in the Cannonball Classic on the Culpeper Media Network.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556.
What do your clothes say about you? Well, if they were screen printed or embroidered at Triple Image, they can speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes. with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image. 829-1050. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford offers award-winning service and unprecedented selection of new and used vehicles. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community.
CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime.
Well, welcome back to our broadcast and to the start of the third quarter, which will have Culpeper kicking off, Steve.
Yep.
And they're down 42-0. Gabe Fry will kick off. And, wow, if the Blue Devils were looking for any advantage, it won't come here to start the third quarter because they're not going to even get the football. But we'll have a continuously running clock for the most part with this 42-0 lead. They keep it on the ground. Ball loose, picked up at the 25-yard line. Straight ahead goes the return man. And Eastern View will have pretty good field position to start here in the third quarter. Let's pick up who the player was on the return. Was it number 2?
Looks like
a little hard to pick. That will be Cameron Spangler on the return. So the word we got at the half, Eric Wilson, remember he left the game?
Yep.
And I heard he was taken off on a gurney?
Yeah, he was taken off on the Gator, back.
The Gator, I'm sorry.
And I think he's being taken for x-rays, Mark. And it looked like they're looking at his ankle or his knee. I don't know, but I don't think we're going to see him the rest of the night.
Eastern View starts on offense. They go to the run. They go with number 24, Jalen Veeney, junior running back. Veeney went straight ahead. Got out across the 40 to the 42. He picked up 7 yards. And this clock in this second half could go quickly unless the Blue Devils score. Here we have, we're back, and it's second down and 3. Ball carries straight ahead, falls across the 45-yard line. He will have a first down for Eastern View. And that was, again, number 24, Jalen Veeney. Back-to-back runs by Veeney, moves the sticks. Eastern View has it now first and 10 from their own 46-yard line. Straight ahead to go again, the ball carrier, and why not, Steve? If the defense can't stop it, you just stick with it, right?
No, if they can't stop it, Mark, they just keep going with your bread and butter and what's got you there. And so they're going to now give in Veeney some carries and in the start here of the second half and resting Trey Holmes because Trey Holmes did a lot of damage against the Blue Devils in the first half.
Well said. I think damage is the key word. And Veeney, he fumbles at the end of the play. That ball is down by contact there on the ground. Got out near the 41 or 42-yard line. He's picking up about 6 yards a pop now. So as you pointed out, Veeney getting some work here in the second half. And what a really good move that is and a luxury for the Cyclones to have your number one guy, Trey Holmes, getting a break here in the third quarter when your team's up 42-0. And like you said, Holmes has done a lot of damage, as has some other players, including Diego Hunter. Lowry throws, and he's got a receiver near side, number 12. That's Camden Lewis. I think that's his second catch of the night. He's a little slow getting up back to his feet.
Looks like he just twisted his ankle a little bit, but they're going to Spangler's going to come in for him.
He picked up 6 yards on the play. Second down and 4. Cyclones from the Blue Devil 36-yard line. Lowry, the quarterback, in the gun. Cyclones, of course, spread it out. They go back to the run. This is Veeney straight ahead, just shy of the 30-yard line. And another first down for Eastern View. So the Cyclones going with the run for the most part. Like you said, Jalen Veeney getting some work here in the second half. They're moving the sticks. They're moving downfield. And the clock, of course, is going to move pretty quickly here in the second half. And we got movement. Blue Devils jumping. Number 13 there for Culpeper was Nathan Martin. He jumped off sides. And they mark off 5 yards against the Blue Devils. Now the line of scrimmage will be the 25-yard line.
You see right now, Mark, in high school league rules, 35-point rule, clock will continue to run. It only stops on change of possessions and injuries.
Injuries, yeah. And hopefully there won't be any of those. Here's Vini going back to work. And, the fumble on the play. They didn't rule that one dead. The Blue Devils say they have it. Let's check the signal. And they do say, yes, Blue Devil ball. Who came up with it? Number 2. That would be Nazir McDonald. Well, I think this was a second and third effort by Vini, and that may be the reason he actually ended up coughing it up.
And what Vini's got to learn to do, too, Mark, is run lower center of gravity. He's running too straight up. And when they come in there, when you got defender trying to strip you of the ball, when you're running straight up, you don't have that lower center of gravity. You don't have that strength on the ball, and that's what happened. He just got it ripped out of his hands. He's got to learn to protect that ball and lower its center of gravity.
So after they reset, the clock goes back to running 8:30 to play in the third quarter. This one's moving quickly here in the third. But the Blue Devils, after that fumble, they get it back. Capone Hoffman throws, and this one's going to be tackled near the line of scrimmage. Number 11, the receiver there, was Gabe Fry, and the tackle made by number 5, Cohen King, defensive back. He's a senior. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10, Blue Devils from their own 23-yard line. Already down to 8 minutes here in the third quarter to play.
And again, Eric Wilson went out injured in the first half, Mark, the starting quarterback. And now they're back in with their backup, Capone Hoffman.
Capone Hoffman. And he sort of stands out there with those pink shoes. Jersey number 1. Here's Hoffman. Got a penalty flag in the background. I think we may have an illegal motion back there by the Blue Devils, Steve. It may cost the Blue Devils 5 yards. Let's check.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mark.
And then they'll stop it with the penalties, as you said. Here comes the call. It is an illegal motion. So, all right, now, let's, this is our 20th season together. Let's share a memory. I know you always like to talk about that Woodbridge game for the sheer laughter of it and the irony. We talked about the Hampton game in '99, the state semifinal. There's been much, much more along the way. After this play, let's, Steve, I want to call upon you to think of another memory as you look over those 20 years we've had together. Here's Hoffman in the gun. Now he's throwing downfield, slings it down there. This one picked off. Cody Howard near midfield. Here comes Howard on the return. Still on his feet, and they cut him down deep in Blue Devil territory.
Well, Mark, let's go to replay on this.
Yeah.
Watch this. And look at the pass play. It was kind of underthrown by Hoffman, but Cody Howard was ball hawking the whole way and was able to come across the pattern, pick off that football, and make a big interception return. Good play by Cody Howard.
Return it down to the Culpeper 22-yard line. And here come the Cyclones on offense. Let's check and see if they make any other substitutions. The quarterback is Matt Lowry. He's in there, number 1. And we talked about Jalen Vini getting some reps here in the third quarter. He's back there with Lowry. Vini, the ball carrier. And hard charge, and Vini keeps those legs churning. Picked up about 5 or 6 yards on the play.
Well, Mark, you asked him about memories our 20th year, the beginning of our 20th season this year. Another memory sticks out to me was 1998, Brook Point in Culpeper, where Joel Pearson stopped Daniel Davis right there for Culpeper to go on for that playoff victory against Brook Point.
Here's Vini, watch out, headed to the end zone, and he gets there untouched from about 15 yards out. Another touchdown by Eastonview, Steve, and this one courtesy of Jalen Vini, who's making the most of his third quarter opportunity.
Cyclone touchdown. Vini from about 25 yards out, Mark, was able to make up that touchdown. Jalen Vini.
Junior running back.
From 15 yards.
Yep. Now on for the point after will be Garrett Hutchinson, the holder, Zach Thomas. Low snap, takes a pretty good roll, and Zach Thomas does a good job of grasping it, getting it down where Hutchinson can punch it through, and he does. Our score, 49-0 with 6:03 to play here in the third quarter.
But, we go back to memory. That was a good memory right there.
Well, that was such a phenomenal game. That was the double or triple overtime or something, wasn't it? Daniel All-World Davis, running back. He was the guy for Brook Point who didn't he go to
North Carolina.
North Carolina to play?
He went to North Carolina, played 2 years, then got in some trouble, transferred, and pretty much didn't hear from then on out. But
Steve, that game was so exciting that I was finally glad it was over because I was almost out of a voice, with all the excitement and the back and forth.
Back and forth.
At some point, even your vocal cords give out.
And so, that was another memory. We can go on and on. I remember going down to Amherst the first time Culpeper advanced in the playoffs, under Coach Sorrentino. Remember the field wasn't green, it was brown down there in Amherst.
I remember that game because one of the plays that stands out was that ball that popped loose from the Blue Devil running back, and then the linebacker was Jason Cox of Amherst, caught it and ran it back. Had sort of a convoy in front of him and ran it back. That was a huge play. That was 98, and here's the kick, fielded in at about the 10-yard line by Nazir McDonald. We got penalty flags down, and finally McDonald is down as well near the 30-yard line. That was 98, but actually the year before, Steve, before we got into broadcasting, the Blue Devils were in the playoffs, weren't they? Didn't they? Yeah, because they ended up playing one of the schools from Roanoke that I grew up knowing about, William Fleming.
Oh, Fleming?
Played Fleming, yeah.
Then they played, I remember, a playoff game against Pulaski.
Yeah, well, we had them, I tell you when we had Pulaski, we had them in 2000. When Pulaski came to Broman Field, and they won that region game to break Culpeper's win streak of, 25 games or something? Yep. That was in 2000. And what about the week before that when Culpeper played Potomac in that muddy game?
Muddy game, and that's when the freshman, he was a freshman for, went to not Preston Brown. He went to play at Tech, went to play for Tech, but then he transferred and played for Liberty. Oh, I'll think about it in a minute. Ward number 5.
For what team?
Culpeper, the defensive back. He graduated under 2005, 2006. I'll think about it in a minute.
Let's see. And you said he wore number 5?
Yep.
Blue Devils back on offense, starting this drive from their own 10-yard line, already pinned back. Not much doing there for the ball carrier. There really hasn't been there any running room for the Blue Devil offense tonight.
He was an everything freshman. They talked about how good he was going to be, defensive back. But I remember that game. I remember, there's so many games in our career that we saw, but it's in the fun times too. And the Woodbridge game, we broadcast ourselves. And, I remember nothing can take the Hampton game, the Henrico game in Richmond where they won the state championship.
Here's Hoffman on a little play action coming to the near side, out to the 15, close to the 20-yard line before he's forced out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark it right at the 20, and that should be enough for a first down because they started this one on their own 10. And it does move the sticks. So
I remember the first Cannonball Classic, which was benefit game.
Benefit game,
when Easton View opened up, and that was when the school split.
You know what? That's when Roger Mello was at Eastern View. Remember that?
Yep.
We had him in our pregame. Roger Mello and his son John Mello played center for the Cyclones. Well, the Blue Devils now have it at the 20-yard line. It's 1st and 10. Clock runs. We're close to that 4-minute mark here in the third quarter. Hoffman handing off to the ball carrier there, left side. And that was is it number 24? Or 34, my mistake. Riley Harrison, his second carry of the night. Picked up 5 yards on first down. It'll be 2nd and 5. 3:45 to play in the third quarter. Our score is 49-0 Eastern View, and yes, it has been all Eastern View tonight. Culpeper's had just a couple big plays on offense, like on those 3rd and long situations, Steve, but they haven't been able to find the end zone.
No, but they lost their starting quarterback, Eric Wilson, to a leg injury, and hopefully he's okay.
We go back to Riley Harrison. Can't get going. He's greeted by 3 or 4 Cyclones, including number 40. And on the tackle, that was Jamie Guerrero. And the injured player, or shaken up player, Riley Harrison, the ball carrier. That'll stop the clock with the injured player. Well, as they attend to him, we'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. That's 7556, Able Heating and Air. And so next week, Steve, as we look ahead, why not look ahead a little bit? I don't think there's any question about the outcome of this one. But I wanted to say that next week we'll be on the road. We'll be at Turner Ashby High School with a game against Eastern View. And Culpeper will play home to Orange County.
Yeah, Culpeper's going to have a tough time against Orange. Orange is, even though they lost their dynamic duo at running back last year, they've got a good athlete in Carter in the quarterback position, and they've got some skill players too. So they're going to be a tough out for Culpeper. But Easterview goes to Turner Ashby over in the Valley. Turner Ashby's a Division III school, but they play tough competition. They're always tough in football. So that's going to be a tough test for the Cyclones, see how they match up. And other than that, looking forward to doing that ball game next week. We're going to have Eastern View back on the air against the Cyclones. Then we go September 8th. We got Culpeper. I think we go to Liberty and watch Culpeper play Liberty, I think, on the 8th of September.
Now, Steve, I want to see if I can stump you. Turner Ashby's nickname or mascot?
The Knights.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Yep, that was an easy one. TA, yeah.
TA. It looks like they're still,
We'll come back when the action resumes. That's Riley Harrison.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556.
What do your clothes say about you? Well, if they were screen printed or embroidered at triple image, they can speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image. 829-1050. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford offers award-winning service and unprecedented selection of new and used vehicles. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community.
CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime.
Well, welcome back to our broadcast. The injured player, good sign, he's back on his feet. That's number 34, Riley Harrison, who was shaken up after that last running play during which he was the ball carrier. Still talking to him there. There he is, number 34. So he's on the roster as a freshman running back, Steve.
Yeah, he looks like he was shaken up on that running play. It looks like he hit his head, Mark. Looks like a little shaken up, a little woozy.
And being flanked there by the school trainer, Henry Wolf. And on the left, head coach Ken Wakefield.
And, even though he's a freshman, Mark, you're talking a ninth grader playing against some of these Eastern View players who are seniors and they're men. And that's tough to ask a ninth grader to come in there and, run the football like that. And you got to be an exceptional athlete to be out here on this field as a freshman, and that's a lot to ask. But he looks like he was rocked pretty good.
Well, when we resume action, the Blue Devil will have it 3rd and 5 from their own 25.
Clock is going to continue.
Yeah, they signaled for the clock to restart, and it's now down to about 3 minutes here in the third. As we mentioned, a fast-moving quarter with this continuously running clock. The exception, of course, for the timeouts and any injuries to any of the players. Well, Capone Hoffman has replaced Eric Wilson. Still under center, Hoffman drops back. Going to air it out downfield for Gabe Fry. Gabe Fry turns back to the ball and catches it at the 40-yard line. But we got a penalty flag back at the Blue Devil in the Blue Devil backfield. Is that a roughing the passer penalty, perhaps?
We'll see. It's either going to be a hold or a roughing the passer.
Well, the way Capone Hoffman is acting right now, either.
And Hoffman just slung that ball
He did.
sidearm, Mark.
He did. I was going to say the same thing. He slung it sidearm.
And it looks like
waving them back.
Waving it back.
But here it is. Here comes the call. Well, this looks like it's going to negate a very nice play on the part of Hoffman to Gabe Fry. Here comes the call. It's holding against the offense.
But see, why is the clock stopped?
With a penalty and having to reset the ball. Well, now they're going to go back to 3rd down. Wow. Oh, that takes away a big play by the Blue Devils.
But you have to give Gabe Fry credit on that. He came back and found the football. So.
But I like the way you described it. That's how I saw Capone Hoffman throwing it. It's a sidearm. He just slung it downfield, and Hoffman, came back a little bit for it, brought it in. Nice catch. They take it away, and it's 3rd and 5. And they restart the clock. 2:30 to play here in the third quarter. 49-0 in favor of the Cyclones. And we mentioned they'll be on the road next week to take on the Knights of Turner Ashby, oftentimes called TA. They were there in the Valley.
You see, Harrisonburg just moved up to City School, moved up to Division 5. And TA is a Division 3.
Here's the pitch to Nazir McDonald. Not much doing right there as the Cyclone defense collapsed on him. They're going to stop him near the line of scrimmage. It's going to bring up 4th down.
But Mark, we go back in the 20 years, we've seen, we broadcast all the way when Culpeper was a AAA school playing Division 6.
Culpeper, Division 5.
Culpeper was Division 5, but we were playing, Battlefield, Hilton. We've been to, they were a Division 6 school. Remember when we were in the Cedar Run district? Before the split, Culpeper was AAA Division 5 school. Remember those? Remember we going back down after the split when Eastern View opened up. And, you just remember some of those teams we played and gone to. And like I said, the Battlefield High School and the Cedar Run. We've been in how many districts over the 20 years? Battlefield, Commonwealth, Cedar Run, Evergreen, now Northwestern for Culpeper, and back to Battlefield for Eastern View.
Oh, this one got past the return man. I don't think he touched it, though. It was trying to make the play on it was number 5, Cohen King. The ball did not hit him, so the Blue Devils simply able to down it, not recovered as a fumble. So that was Gabe Fuller, the punter. And Eastern View will take over on offense with 54 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. And they're going to have it near the 40-yard line.
Yeah, you said Gabe Fuller. I know you meant Gabe
Fry. Yeah. Oh, we had a Gabe Fuller. We had a Gabe Fuller. He was an interesting guy, too.
Wore number 77. That was his number.
Did he wear 77?
Yeah, I think so.
I was going to say 74.
Oh, 77.
Gabe Fuller. He was in that 99 team, wasn't he?
Yep, he was.
It was Gabe. Eastern View on their own 39 here. Clock starting already. Under 40 seconds to play here in the third. And caught in the backfield this time, getting a little extra push by Stallings out there, was the guy who made the tackle. Let's pick up, was that number 53 of Culpeper? It was. That's Steven South. First time we called his name tonight. Made a nice solo tackle on the ball carrier, Vini, to stop him for no gain.
And that's the fourth quarter mark.
Yeah, that was a fast one, wasn't it? Final seconds ticking off. And they have. We've played 3 here at Cyclone Stadium. And it's Eastern View 49, Culpeper County nothing. We'll take a break, come back for the fourth and final quarter right after this.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you've made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556.
What do your clothes say about you? Well, if they were screen printed or embroidered at Triple Image, they can speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image. 829-1050. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford offers award-winning service and unprecedented selection of new and used vehicles. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community.
CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime.
Welcome back to our broadcast and to the start of the fourth quarter, but we had a little extra entertainment value added to our show, or to our vision, what we were able to see, Steve. Hadn't seen anything like that for a while. Got a bobbled snap back there. Beanie finally brings it in. I think we got a new quarterback, number 14 for Eastern View. And I don't have a 14. You got a 14?
I don't have a 14 either. Looks like another fan. We always get fan players.
Who do we have? Number 44, Jason Woodard.
Okay.
Well, that's why. I said 14, it was a 44.
But I don't have a 44 on the roster either.
All right. So it's Jason Woodard in there as a quarterback. Here's Beanie straight ahead, running. Good yardage out across the 45-yard line, out close to a Cyclone first down.
And Mark, but that's a good way. I'm glad Coach Hatfield is playing number 44. It gives them some game experience because their backup quarterback, Till Butler, is down and out with a broken collarbone. So this is a good experience for him to get some reps in.
Good opportunity. He bobbled that one, and he fumbles it with the hit by, I believe it was Gabe Fry. Then the Blue Devils recovered. Number 25 for the Blue Devils is Jaden Brown.
And he's hit by number 40.
40?
40.
Blake Polari.
Blake Polari.
Somehow I saw Gabe Fry in there, but maybe I was wrong. Well, 44, it's kind of an interesting number to have as a quarterback, isn't it?
And you hate to see him go down. I know now Eastern View's defense, though, is going to play for pride, Mark. And pride meaning that they don't want Culpeper to score. They want to preserve this shutout.
Well, the score last year was 42-0. This year it's 49-0 with 10:40 to play and clock ticking here in the fourth. So the Blue Devils go back on offense. They'll have it at the Eastern View 38-yard line. And the man with the pink shoes in the backfield there and the gun is backup quarterback Capone Hoffman, who's been in here in the second half for Eric Wilson. Now he's going to sling one downfield again. The receiver falls down. Don't know that it would have been catchable had he not. Nazir McDonald was the intended receiver. Back there with him, number 21, Aaron Henson on the coverage.
The problem with Capone Hoffman's mechanics when he throws his sidearm like that is you're really not going to get a lot of velocity on the football, and you're going to be susceptible to getting knocked down at the line of scrimmage by a big athletic defensive front or someone coming around in the end, blitzing, grabbing your arm as you're throwing it. You're going to end up dropping the ball. So, it's a little bit unorthodox style to see him throw it, but if it works, why not?
Well, in the lineup right now in the backfield is Coleclaw, number 15. Hoffman going to sling this from the other side. And falling down again was the intended receiver. That would be Armani Hoffman.
That's his brother.
Mm-hmm. So you have Capone and Armani Hoffman. Capone is a junior. Armani Hoffman, a sophomore. Now we have a 3rd and 10 for the Blue Devils from the Cyclone 38. Clock continues to run. We're down to 9 minutes. 49-0 our score. We've looked ahead already and said that the Blue Devils will be home to the Orange County Hornets next week, and the Hornets are classified as a 5A team, 5A school.
But they play in the Jefferson District.
Yeah.
They get permission to play in the Jefferson District, and Orange is never going to be dropped down to a 4 or even a 3 until they get another high school in Orange.
And here's the pass, caught by Gabe Fry. Makes the first defender miss. And he's dragged down shy of the 20-yard line by number 18, Alex Spangler. Well, they finally do find Fry, and this time no penalty flags down for the Blue Devils, Steve. The play will stick. It'll be a first down, and the Blue Devils have it now at the Cyclone 22-yard line.
And Mark, and that's what they should have been doing in the first half, going to those short passes, going to dig against. In other words, when you play a team like Eastern View, you got to take what the defense gives you.
Mm-hmm.
And Culpeper wasn't doing that in the first 3 quarters.
All right, here's Hoffman on first down. Looks like he's going to keep this one. And he made the first guy miss, but then Cyclones came over, number 22 and number 23. Jeremy Yates, 22, Avery Rabb, 23.
And see, and Eastern View is now playing a lot of their second stringers. But the other thing is that Eastern View pursues the football so well, and it's hard to run against this team because they're so quick and they're on that ball.
And it's 2nd down and 10. Blue Devils, Cyclone 22. 7:10 clock ticking, 4th quarter. Capone Hoffman, the quarterback. 4 receivers set. We got movement. We got a player down. And contact there made by number 57, Raekwon Mann, a junior defensive lineman.
It's going to be all sides against Eastern View. So Eastern View defense is in a bend a little bit. I know they don't want Culpeper to score here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this last 7 minutes plays out here. See if Eastern View can keep Culpeper out of the end zone.
Yeah, now 2nd down and 5 from the 17-yard line.
It'll be a big game changer for Culpeper if they can get in.
Yeah. Well,
not a game changer, but it'll be a momentum. It'll be good for Culpeper and their psyche, I should say.
Well, particularly since they were shut out last year, 42-0. A little play action now. Here's Hoffman going to keep it. Look for running room. He won't find any. And making the tackle was number 40, Jamie Guerrero, a senior defensive lineman. Now we'll have 3rd down. And let's check the spot. The line of scrimmage was a 17. And it looks like he lost a yard. Back to the 18. Let's call it 3rd and 6. Down to almost 6 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. Well, this broadcast is made possible by Virginia Community Bank. When you bank with us, you can bank on us. That's Virginia Community Bank, banking for life at 829-6034. 3rd down and 6 for the Blue Devils. Low snap. Hoffman's got it. And the protection hold up. He's going to keep it. 20, 15, 10, 5. Looking for the end zone. He's right at the goal line, and they say he's in.
Touchdown, Blue Devils. Hoffman from 18 yards out, Mark, and they able to jump in the end zone and get it in there, but it looks like he's shaking up a little bit, but he gets up.
Was that Hoffman, or was it the? No, that was the receiver, McDonald. It was Hoffman on the carry.
Hoffman on the carry. McDonald was the one shaking up.
Yeah, Hoffman 18 yards. Blue Devils are on the board. It's 49-6 with 5:18 to play. And on for the point after, the left-footed Gabe Fry.
But still, the clock will continue to run because it's still more than a 35-point deficit.
All right, and the holder is Capone Hoffman. And I imagine Robert Stratiff still the center. It is Stratiff. Here's Hoffman, his kick. Make it Fry, rather. His kick is up and good. 49-7. So the Blue Devils have finally found the end zone against the Cyclones, Steve. But obviously, that's just really something for them to take a little pride in. Has no really impact or bearing on the game.
No, but it can give some pride and stuff to Culpeper. They were able to score. Last year they didn't score on them at all, so they're able to score 7 points. But you got to look at it this way. In the last, 3 scores, how many points has Culpeper scored against Eastern View? Not very many.
Well, I've got that information with me if you wanted me to look it up. Well, in the meanwhile, this broadcast is made possible by CFC Farm and Home Center, outfitting your family from head to toe since 1932. CFC Farm and Home Center at 825-2200. Dave Fry, who had the point after, will come back here in a moment and tee it up for the kickoff. All right, Steve, how about another memory over these 20 seasons? I want to see if we can think of something that really something else that stands out.
Trying to think.
I'll tell you something that sort of stands out. 2002, the Blue Devils made the playoffs and they beat Colonial Forge in the first round after Forge had beaten them in the regular season. Then they played Stafford. Remember that? Stafford beat them. That was Stafford's best year maybe ever. They went to the state finals and lost to Phoebus. Thomas McClellan.
Was that 2002 or 2003?
2002, yeah. Here's a return man for Eastern View. It's number 22, Jeremy Yates. Eastern View will have it here on first and about 15. And the clock continues to run. We're down to 4:40 to play. Clock ticking. 49-7 our score. This backup quarterback in there, number 44, Jason Woodard. Handing off. Ball carrier. Number 22, Jeremy Yates.
Any relation to Caden Woodard? Jason is good brother?
Caden was Caden Woodward. Now, I don't know if this is, I got this information down at the other end of the press box. It was pronounced Woodard. I don't know for certain if it's Woodard or Woodward because we didn't have him on the roster. We need to find that out because those are two distinctly different names.
I can tell you this: for all the 20 seasons, we've always had a phantom player for every season, don't we?
Yeah. It was a pickup of 3 yards in the play by Yates. Ball at the 35 now. Second down 11. Back to Yates. He fumbled it. Got a nice bounce. Picked it back up. Here's Yates with some running room. Inside the 20, down to the 10. And he's tackled there around the 8-yard line by number 2, Nazir McDonald. Saved the touchdown, it looked like.
And Yates was able to pick up that drop ball, fumble, bounce right back up to him, may turn into a positive gain. But Mark, what memory do you have? What would be the coldest game we've ever done?
The what?
The coldest.
Was that Jefferson Forest?
Yep.
When we went down there for the playoffs?
Against
Eastern View?
Eastern View against Jefferson Forest.
Yeah.
And that, or the Stafford playoff game with Culpeper in 2002.
For some reason, I don't remember that as cold.
It was cold. I remember that day. 30 degrees, wind blowing.
But definitely at Jefferson Forest, it was cold there. And that was just, about 3 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, well, the Cyclones have it first and goal now from the 9-yard line. They stick with Woodard back there as a quarterback. Yates, the ball carrier, picking his way for a little bit of daylight and stopped just shy of the goal line. So now you've got some reps for Yates, running pretty well for the Cyclones as well, Steve. Just denied a touchdown on that run. They're right there near the goal line.
And
call it the 1.
Clock continues to run. But what I was giving, remember that Jefferson Forest game? That was like, 64? I mean, that was just so, back and forth. What was the final score of that game?
I'd have to look at it. I've got that with me.
To 40.
It was like a basketball score.
Yeah.
Like 62 to 50-something.
Yep, 62 to 55, I believe.
Back to Yates, hit the backfield, and he loses it. And Blue Devils think they have it. They may have blown the whistle and the play dead.
They did.
But either way, they're still letting the clock run, because they would have spit that one out down to 1:35 to play, Steve. Boy, this second half went by, didn't it?
It went by quick, didn't it?
Chris Capello's been with us tonight, the sports editor.
There's all the scores right there. We can see what
he'll be heading out. Chris, good to see you.
We just want to see the last 3 years, how many points have they scored.
Got the scores on there?
14 and 28. They've scored pretty much, so. But
all right. Well, Chris,
the Cannonball Classic.
Well, the Cannonball Classic is sponsored by the Star Exponent, right?
Yep.
And Chris Capello will be giving out that trophy tonight. Here's Yates again, the ball carrier, and he's going to get into the end zone. They stay with Yates, and Yates gets it in from 1 yard out.
Yep, and there's going to be a Cyclone touchdown.
With 53 seconds remaining. Now the Cyclones are in the 50s, Steve. It's 55-7. And
this is probably the biggest blowout win during the fireworks. Probably the biggest blowout win of the Cannonball Classic. But again, Culpeper, this goes back to the days when I even played that we never beat Madison in like 15 years or 20 years. And, this is like Eastern View dominance still continues over Culpeper in football.
Well, Madison had a pretty good coach back then.
Yep, Eddie Dean.
Yeah. And you know what? He was there for 1967 through 2004. Eddie Dean.
I bet, but they were a single A club. And they dominated us for years. But
by the way, the point after by Hutchinson was good, and it's 56-7 with 53 seconds remaining. You're talking about Madison County. That was a great rivalry, I guess, that Madison and Culpeper enjoyed.
Always. Here was when I played, it was Madison, Orange were your big rivals. Okay, and we always because Orange was in the battlefield with Culpeper, and another big rivalry with Culpeper was always James Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
And now Eastern View gets to renew their rivalry this year with James Monroe. That's probably going to be the only team that's going to give Eastern View, I think, this season, any type of them. And Cortland comes here. Cortland's going to be strong too. But I think James Monroe and Cortland are probably going to be the only two big games that will give Eastern View some problems. I think they'll get by Turner Ashby, and I think they'll get by Orange. And then, the district, because Chancellor's very weak this year. They lost a lot of people. Caroline, they're still going to be a weak opponent. King George lost a lot. They're young. So, really, they're saying the challengers in the battlefield are going to be, it's going to be Eastern View's the favorite. Eastern View's the fourth-rated team in the Freelance Star top 5. But
line drive kick fielded by number 81, Jordan Williams. Took a pretty good hit out there near the 25-yard line. Well, back to these teams you're talking about, Steve, and the clock running down the last 35 seconds. Cortland, when you think of Cortland, they sort of come to mind as a team that's been a nemesis to Eastern View in the playoffs.
They have, Mark, and they got to play them. Now they're back at district rivalry. That's going to be a big game. And again, in James Monroe is always going to be a tough game. I think we go down there this year for James. We check your schedule. Do we go to James Monroe for Eastern View, or do they come here?
No, I'll check that later.
And,
of course, that's down the road, as you say.
Yep.
Final 8, 7, and 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, down to 2 and 1, and they'll count the final seconds off. We have played this one, the annual Cannonball Classic here in 2017. And once again, the Cyclones prevailed. They made it look easy. Our final score, 56-7. Well, we've talked about the highlights of the game throughout, Steve, and this continuously moving clock in the second half made things go rather quickly. What are your final thoughts about tonight's game from both vantage points?
Well, from Eastern View, it was a complete game. They dominated both sides of the line of the ball, but offensively, defensively. I would say in the play of Lowry, he didn't make any mistakes. I think he played steady, but your big name players came through. Diego Hunter, Trey Holmes had a big first half. I mean, ran right through Culpeper. Your stars played well for Eastern View, and you can't your hats off to the defense. They had a great defensive effort. Culpeper, they got a lot to work on. They lost Eric Wilson, their quarterback, to injury, and they're bigger than they've been. They just got to learn how to put it together and learn how to learn from this game. They know Eastern View is a great program, but what Culpeper's got to do is regroup. They've got a fair schedule. I've said it in the coaches show. If they can go 2-4 in the first and then get into the district schedule with their Northwestern District, they can, with the way the schedule is, they could get into the playoff if they can learn to right the ship. So like I said, their Culpeper is, I guess the best way to coin it and term it is a work in progress.
All right, well said, Steve. That will give us the final words here tonight from Cyclone Stadium, where we witnessed another Cannonball Classic dominated by the Cyclones. So that'll do it for us here tonight. Once again, our final score from Cyclone Stadium, Eastern View 57, Culpeper County 7. You're looking at the Cyclones now lined up. They're going to be receiving the trophy pretty soon. And Chris Capella, there it is. Chris Capella handing it off. We'll be handing it off to Greg Hatfield, the head coach, on behalf of the star exponent. But that'll do it for us tonight. Again, we're going to be at Turner Ashby High School next Friday when the Cyclones take on the Knights of TA, as they're known. So for Johnny Krawchuk and Steve Peacock, I'm Mark O'Connell saying thanks for watching and supporting the Blue Devils and Cyclones here on the Culpeper Media Network. Hope you have a great week, and we'll plan on seeing you next time from Turner Ashby High School over in the valley near Bridgewater, Virginia. So long, everybody.
Good night.